It's the iron stick.
I'll unplug this and hear it.
The ones that should be.
Oh yeah, big wooden handle. You hear anything over here? Yeah. The sound comes out of
Billy, I can hear you clicking your pen from here.
I'll quit.
I was like, what is that noise? And then I thought,
That travels a long ways from Lincoln to Fayetteville, don't it? Well, you're nervous. You got to go, you know. They're gonna have to update the elected officials on the website. Lance, you're gonna have to get the camera on. Y'all like to see his top of your bald head.
I used to be nervous every 2 years, but now. Sure.
John, you didn't get a notice or anything, right? On the meeting? Did you get a call? I got a call later.
No, you hand it off to the guy, it just all goes down. You'd have had it out by now.
Yes. But, first month for us,
Yeah, that's,
I remember.
especially considering what else you've done.
The Jails Law Enforcement Courts Committee meeting is called to order. Members of the committee for 2021-2022 Jails Law Enforcement Courts Committee are J.P. Patrick Deakins, J.P. Lisa Ecke, J.P. Lance Johnson, J.P. Willie Lemming, J.P. Eva Madison, J.P. Shannon Marti, and J.P. Judith Yanes. The first order of business is to elect our chairman,
Chairman Johnson,
Justice Deakins.
I'd like to nominate Lance Johnson as committee chair.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion in 2 seconds. Are there other nominations? Are there other nominations? Seeing none, all in favor of Lance Johnson as chairman, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's done. Next, we will select a vice chair.
I nominate Patrick Deacon.
Second.
Justice Marti nominated Patrick Deakins, and there was a second. Are there other nominations? All in favor of Justice Deakins as the vice chair, say aye.
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 Those opposed, no. The next item is adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Could I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt the
I've
agenda.
got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Okay, the responsibilities of this committee are to discuss and plan for all phases of the current system with a focus towards the future. This will take into account operating philosophy and financing of current and future needs. Any questions, any discussions on what we're to do? Item 6 on the agenda is the juvenile detention report. Is Director Collins here tonight or on Zoom?
Yes, let me get her over.
Go ahead. Somebody unmute Director Collins, so there we go.
Director Collins, you, Director Collins, can you hear us?
Director Collins on Zoom tonight. Miss Patty, can you help me?
Director Collins, can you hear us? I'll see if I can reach out to her.
Okay, very good. We'll
Want to move on.
proceed and come back if she gets on. On to item 7, the enforcement activities report, Deputy Cantrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Jay Cantrell. I'm the Chief Deputy with the Washington County Sheriff's Office, and I'll present the enforcement report. Compared to 2020, our 2021 numbers are down, but we directly attribute that to the COVID pandemic we're currently in. Our calls for service are down, papers are down in numbers, warrants are down, so everything's, even our training hours are down, just as we try to restrict our movement and pandemic, in a better place. We're anxious for it to move on through. I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone has about the enforcement report.
Anybody got any questions? Okay, seeing none. Major Densler?
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Randall Denzer. I'm the jail administrator. You have your copy of the stuff in front of us. Our activity report, you can see that intakes are down since prison. Like what Chief said, everything's down on the count. See about the state prisoners, what we have, federal, Madison County, our county commits, our service, we stopped it last March when the COVID took off. That's why there's 0 there. Transport has, you can see, has cut back, doing mostly court on Zoom. Still having to go out of the county, pick up people on warrants, and made all the people in the county on in. The next one on the draft, back in March when we started this, we was a little over 800 folks, and with all the restrictions and everything come down, we got down to almost 400, and we was down to about 200 pre-trial. Well, the numbers are starting to creep back up. As you can see, we're right at 300 now pre-trial, so we're almost, we'll be back to where we was at 400 back last March. And then probably the last page, if you have any questions, we can go back to some of this other, but I said we booked into 595. We're holding no misdemeanors. We're trying to turn loose all the non-violent felons. And I said we had 117 with the sheriff's order, and OR was 113. Our last count today, it was 564 people in jail. And with this COVID and the quarantines and everything is making it really strict. We got 71 people on the floor. Last time we had about 100 people on the floor when we had 800. But we don't have, you run out of room with your quarantines and moving people around. But I think we're down today, I believe we've only had 7 that was positive. So we're kind of on a downhill streak as far right now as the COVID coming in. Entertain any questions?
Any questions?
Mr. Deacons, I have a couple since we haven't been meeting the last couple months. What's the state commit like, or the state's acceptance of inmates? Has it slowed down significantly, or are you seeing it pick back up? Can you walk us through the last few months or so, what that has looked like?
They've had the same problem, I think, that everybody's had. They may have had a worst case scenario. Several of their officers got it, and several of the detainees, and we just now opened back up where they shut down, they weren't taking anybody. We're back up to about 125 waiting to go. But this last Friday, they started a program kind of like what we're doing with the quarantine and testing. So supposedly they're going to start taking them, and we can get our numbers down. But they had, with their large numbers, they had a really bad case of everything. So they just shut everything down. They're supposed to start taking them back.
Any idea on where the priority list detention officers will be to get the vaccine?
They're, I believe, on the level 2. And we've already went through that. Everybody that's wanted one, I say almost everybody, I think maybe be a few waiting on their second shot. But we've all had our 2 shots.
But you feel like you've had enough supply to accommodate who's wanted one?
Yes. Yeah, we've not had an issue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Thank you for coming out here tonight.
JP Johnson.
You all.
Been doing it on Zoom.
Just a second, Madam Vincent.
Mr. Chair, there's questions from the Zoom folks.
JP Johnson, we have JP Madison.
Yes, Justice Madison?
Thank you. I just wanted to ask Major Dinger, I was going to ask about the vaccinations. I was glad to hear that news. But I was also curious, and I really just wanted to be able to ask this question and have it answered publicly. There were a lot of people that asked me how it was that Richard Barnett, who lived in Benton County and turned himself in at the Benton County Jail, ended up in our jail. So it's just, when you have an infamous prisoner in your jail, you, as a JP, you get a lot of questions about why. And I was curious if you could just sort of explain how it was he ended up in our house.
Sure. Benton County's not holding any federal prisoners. When they arrested him, he became a federal prisoner, and we are. And so they brought him to us. He turned himself in, and then the authorities got him, brought him to us because he's a federal prisoner at that point.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to hear it from the person that would know. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none. Okay, item 8 on the agenda is the public comment period. We have a 12-minute comment period with a 3-minute limit for each individual to comment on items on the agenda. Anyone for public comment? Justice Deakins? Would you be my time?
I've got some time right here. But, no, you're fine. You do 12 minutes and I'll do 3.
Is there any public comment?
JP Yanez has her hand raised.
So Dr. Collins is here, so I'm not sure if she's going to have a chance to speak.
Is Dr. Collins on?
I mean, Director Collins.
Director Collins, what did I say?
Director Collins.
Yes, I'm here.
Do you want to give your report?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Denise Collins. I'm the director at the Washington County Juvenile Detention Center. For the month of January, our average daily population was 18.71. We had 9 transports total for the month of January. And those transports being 4 in town, 5 out of town, 1 being through law enforcement, and 8 being JDC transports. We did have, at the end of the month, we were holding 1 that was sentenced. 3 were committed to DYS. 1 was here for early release to treatment or appropriate facility. We were holding 1 that had a C-step commitment, and 3 were sent throughout the month for acute placement. Also in the report, the comparisons from January 2020 and January 2021, the number of intakes, we had a little decline. 2020 we had 39 intakes. 2021 we had 30. There was a little increase, well, by half. Average length of stay was 6.69 length of stay for 2020 and 12.23 for 2021. And if anyone has any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
Does anyone have questions?
JP Yanez has her hand raised.
Justice Yanez?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2 questions. I have a clarification question on the CC, just to clarify. We have Brian Lester listed as the chief. Can we just clarify his new role with the county on that?
He is still the county attorney. He, because Chief Gales is no longer with the county, Mr. Brian Lester has now stepped in that role.
Thank you. And then
You're welcome.
Director Collins, thank you for all the work you do. It can't be easy, especially working with teens right now out of schools and with these environments. I have a question on, I noticed that, like the increase in the different types of cases that you're seeing, but can you speak a little about the behavior patterns that you're seeing with COVID right now in our youth?
For me, I would say the behavior patterns have not changed. Coronavirus has not changed behavior patterns, other than I would say probably mental health, in the mental health aspect of it. We have had a bit more residents come in, or juveniles come in as residents with a little more anxiety, and not necessarily anxiety as far as an increase of depression, but a little bit more increase of antsiness, a little bit more high-strung, needing things to do. And that's unfortunate, because then that's why sometimes the crime rate is high. We've had an increase of juveniles that joyriding, which is an increase of theft of property, stealing motor vehicles, things like that. So that's, other than that, that's the only behavioral situations that I would say, but the mental health aspect has been somewhat of an increase. And I also will say that Mr. John Luther did assist me and 8 of my staff to receive a coronavirus vaccination also. So
That's great to hear. And then one final question: what kind of support with the mental health do the juveniles have?
So I do have 2 licensed social workers on my staff full time, and we are very fortunate to be able to have up to 4 social work interns also, non-paid, throughout the year. So we receive those interns from all types of universities. Like right now we have one from University of Arkansas, we have one from Arizona State, we did have one from Florida University. So we're very fortunate to be able to accommodate internships, as well as have 2 full-time licensed social workers.
That's great. Thank you so much for answering my questions. I appreciate you.
You're very welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, let's go back to the public comment period. Is there anybody on for public comment?
I have Allie Brown. Get her promoted over.
Did you hear that?
Hello.
Adam,
Hello.
you're recognized.
Hello, committee members. Thank you. I have a public comment about the public comment section 2. I did notice some different word changing on the agenda documents. Every county municipality will preside over controversial issues that bring scrutiny and, shall I say, heat down on leadership for how they are governing procedures. It seems to me that good governance would welcome public comments, seeing that there may be serious issues that are not on the agenda that need attention. I also noticed the different wording, like Ms. Koger did on the public comment section on the agenda, prescribing public comment that should be limited to agenda items. The limitation on speaker topics does not align with Washington County Code Division 2 Procedures, Section 2 through 32 on citizen comments. It is my only wish as a Washington County resident that the best ideas went out at large and within these committees, and it seems like bad ones or ones that are not justified require or command clever mechanisms to curb or limit public scrutiny. My conversations within the past week with other JPs on various issues indicated that some of our funds will really need to be prioritized for the Sheriff's Department due to medical treatment for COVID, And I just have a question, and I will follow up because all of you were really lovely to talk to this week. Have we done a comprehensive review of all pretrial charges to maximize compassionate release? Around 290 as of today seems like a lot of people to have in jail on pretrial. Pretrial. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Other public comment?
I see no other hands raised.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you.